Hi everyone, today we're going to look at how a while loop works in Java. The first thing we need to know about while loops is the syntax, and that is the syntax. We have while, then some round brackets, and then some curly braces, and this is the while loop block of code. Goes in here. Now what goes in the round brackets, of course, as you may have guessed, is a Boolean expression. So whatever we put in these the round brackets of a while loop must resolve itself to be either true or false. Okay? And we've seen this kind of thing before with if statements. So for example, I can't do this. 5 is not a Boolean. It doesn't resolve to Boolean, and I already get a little error here. Cannot convert from int to Boolean. Okay, so please remember that a Boolean expression is required in the round brackets. Now we're going to look at a little battery charger problem, okay? And we're going to look at a situation where the charge percent, let's make this an integer, the charge percent of a battery is set to 0 at the beginning of a program. And while charge percent is less than 100, we're going to charge the battery. Okay? So that's really the function of this while loop. Charge the battery until it reaches 100%. So all we have to do, quite a simple little challenge here, is charge plus. Sorry, charge percent. It's called charge percent plus. And that will charge the battery in steps of 1. Okay? Another way of writing that, by the way, is charge percent equals charge percent plus 1. I hope you're familiar with that. It's the same thing as charge plus. And another way of writing it is charge percent plus equals 1. So those are 3 different ways of incrementing a value by 1. Okay? And while we're in the while loop, let's just see what's going on. I'm just going to do a system.out.print charge percent, so we can see what's going on when the loop loops. And we'll run that, and then we'll have a look at the result. And if I just scroll the window down, we can see quite quickly that it starts at 0 and it goes down to 100, and then it stops. Okay, charge percent becomes 100. 100 is not less than 100. Remember our Boolean expression? 100 is less than 100? Nope, that's not true. So the while loop stops and the code continues. In fact, what we could do at the end of the while loop is do another system.out.print the battery is charged. Okay? Again, very quickly we'll run that. Now interestingly here, every time I run this code, it goes up in steps of 1. It always happens 100 times. So really, we could solve this problem using a for loop, because we know that every time we run this code, it's going to loop 100 times. So why don't we just say for int I equals 0 to I is less than 100, I plus, and just replace my while code with a for loop instead. I could do that. So let's make it a little bit more interesting. What I'm going to suggest is that, let's just get rid of some of this stuff here. So let's get rid of all of it, we'll just start again. What I'm going to suggest to you is, there is an integer called charge, and when we plug our battery into the electricity supply, the electricity supply gives us this charge. But as time goes by, the charge value is not regular. We kind of have an inconsistent electricity supply. So let's use a random number to simulate that. And I'm just going to say, okay, give me a number between 1 and 5 each time we go through the loop. So we'll do that. That gives us a random number from 0 to 4. And if we add 1 to the end of that, we now have a random number from 0 to 5. So in the while loop, we're going to get a random charge value, and that's what we're going to use to increase the charge percent. Okay, and so we can see what's going on. Let's just stick another system.out.print, and we'll just monitor the charge percent as the loop continues. Now remember, we're trying to make sure that this stops when the charge percent reaches 100. We don't want it to go to 200 or 300 or even 101. When it reaches 100, we stop. Okay? Alright, let's run our code and see what happens. So this time, here we've got a jump of 2, and then a jump of 5, and then a jump of 3, and then a jump of 4, and then a jump of 4, and then a jump of 1. So we're having random jumps now. So this is a little bit more like we're simulating a more realistic event here. An inconsistent electricity supply is charging the battery. And this is taking about, how many steps is that taking? Let's monitor that. I'm going to monitor it. Int steps equals 0. And in our while loop, after we've done everything, let's do steps plus plus. And also, let's monitor. The battery is charged in however many steps. Okay. So we're just going to monitor how many times the loop increments. So let's just run that again. Let's see what we get. The battery is charged in 32 steps. The battery is charged in 32 steps. Let's run it again. The battery is charged in 32 steps. Very interesting. Let's run it again. The battery is charged in 32 steps again. That is incredible. Let's do that again. Oh, this time it took 36 steps to charge the battery. Let's do that again. This time it took 40 steps to charge the battery. So our inconsistent electricity supply is giving us a bit more fun with the program. Little problem. I don't really want the battery to ever reach a value of charge that's greater than 100. So my code still has some issues here. How can we fix that? I've got an idea. Within my while loop, after I get my charge value, I'm going to say if charge plus charge percent is less than is less than 100, less than or equal to 100, that's when we will add the charge. Okay, logically, does that make sense? We're only going to change the charge percent if the new value is less than or equal to 100. If it takes us over 100, we don't want to add the new charge. We're just going to go through the loop again. So let's see how that works. So it took 38 steps to charge the battery, and yes, we hit 100. Look what happened the first time it hit 99. We went to get another random number, but it took the total beyond 100, so it didn't do anything. And that happened a few times. And finally, it got a random number equal to 1, and then the battery is fully charged. Purely out of curiosity, I'm just going to run that again. So, pretty average, huh? About 36, 32, 36 times. 36 again. Interesting. 35 times to charge a battery. 37 times. Never 53 or 67. Ooh, I just said 53, didn't I? Check this out. Woo! Is my computer listening to me? Anyway, take some time to think about the code that charges a battery using a while loop.